All right, it really happened, Sam. The Jacksonville Jaguars are going Travon Walker #1 overall. This was unexpected as of just a couple weeks ago, as of days ago. But then there was little rumors, and then it just became, okay, this is what's happening. Travon Walker, the upside, projectable edge over the safer Aiden Hutchinson, who people expected. I'm a little surprised. I'm surprised we actually did get here to Travon Walker being the pick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that's where we ended up. It's not surprising when you consider it's been building this way for a while, right? The closer we got to the draft, the more inevitable it seemed to be that they were going to draft Travon Walker. And look, if you've watched the PFF NFL podcast for any period of time, you know we don't love this pick. This is not what we would have done. But I don't want to harp on that because, we've done that to death. And ultimately, this is about the player that the Jags just drafted. The first point I would make is this is a really gutsy call for Trent Baalke and the Jags generally to take #1 overall and pick a guy who a couple of months ago was a mid-first round pick, right? A guy with spectacular athletic tools, but without the tape to back it up, over somebody like Aiden Hutchinson, who's seen as this, whatever you think his ceiling is, a really safe prospect, right? A guy who's going to be a good NFL player. Even when you listen to some of these kind of anonymous scouts and they're like, well, does he have the ceiling to be great? You take that guy #1 overall. They're like, he'll be a good player. If you can guarantee a good player a #1 overall, it takes a lot to say, you know what? No, we're not taking a good player. We are going to shoot for something special. And Travon Walker has genuinely special athletic traits. Like that guy tests better than Myles Garrett, who had like a perfect edge rushing athletic profile. It's going to be so interesting to see what they can turn him into with, good coaching and presumably a role that plays to his strengths a little bit better than the Georgia defense did.
That's what's fascinating about this decision though, right? It's like when you're evaluating a prospect, what's your baseline? What are you starting with? And a lot of people start with the film. At PFF, we can look at our production grades. You can look at the measurables. So if you start from the measurables and you look at Travon Walker's breakdown, again, pull out the best, most athletic edge defender you can think of. He's better. He's better. He's longer. He's quicker. He's more explosive. He's more powerful. He does have all of that. And then you look at the production side of the coin, and he doesn't tick any of the boxes. Something like pass rush win percentage, where the average elite edge defender was pressuring the quarterback, winning 16% of the time, and he's at 9%. Like there's a massive difference. And historically, it is better to tick both of those sides, right? The production and the athleticism. But I could see where you would look at him and say, I've never seen this breakdown of measurables, even in the guys like Danielle Hunter, Myles Garrett, or whoever you want to, JPP, whoever you want to mention. Travon Walker trumps all of them.
That's the thing. He is genuinely unprecedented. We couldn't come up with a comp that fit, right?
Yeah.
We can find guys that have pretty much the same athletic profile, but they're 20 pounds lighter, right? Which is pretty significant. You ever picked up a 20-pound plate? Or, so a 25, it's a heavy weight.
With both hands, of course,
right. Yeah. Like it's a serious amount of weight to be adding to a guy who's already an athletic freak. He has the arm length, he has the size, he's got everything you want. And you can turn to the tape and say, like, this defense did not set him up to succeed, right? You just look at his pressure reel. It's all contain rushes or converted rushes where he was defending the run first, or plays where he was bull rushing and then worked his way to clean up and all these kinds of things. The number of plays where he was just given license to pin his ears back, play on the edge, not, inside over a tackle or even further inside than that, and go nuts the way some of these other pass rushers are. There's so few of those relative to these other guys. You have to anticipate a greater ceiling than we've seen from him so far. The question is, how high? Like, how far is that gap?
So if you're gonna, I always like to go back to the measurables plus the production, the comps that we've used, the guys that the Jaguars are banking on. Rashawn Gary took him till year 3 as a freak athlete to really figure it out and become a high-end player. Danielle Hunter kind of hit the ground running, but didn't really find his stride as a pass rusher until maybe year 3 or 4. You're banking on that type of development. The Jags just picked up Josh Allen's 5th-year option, their old first-round pick from a few years ago. So now they're banking on those two guys. Arden Key comes in and really improving that pass rush up front. But it's a bold move, I think, what you started with. It is a bold move by the Jags to take Travon Walker over Aiden Hutchinson and over Kayvon Thibodeau, the guy that back in the fall and early in this process, he was the lock number one. And let me just sum it up with this, right? Tools, all that stuff, Georgia scheme, those are all fair things. The risk is in that we just haven't seen him do it, right? You just haven't seen him line up wide and win one-on-ones at a high level. And that is one of the most projectable things that we see from college to the NFL. So it's just it just adds risk to this entire pick.
Yeah, but the one big difference between that and most players to whom that applies is there's usually not a pretty serious schematic reason why those players are lacking pressure or lacking production, right? It's usually just he hasn't been a very good college player. Travon Walker's actually been a pretty good player at what they're asking him to do. It's just that what they're asking to do doesn't necessarily tie in with what he's going to be doing at the next level. Now, look, that doesn't get you all the way there. You look at the rest of that Georgia defense, it didn't stop Devontae Wyatt dominating, right? It didn't stop Jordan Davis looking better. Like, there are players within that defense that have been able to overcome those confines and still disrupt the play more than Travon Walker, but most of those guys don't have his level of athletic profile.
Back-to-back years, number one overall pick for the Jags. They had Trevor Lawrence last year. Dare I say the Jags are must watch just to see how Travon Walker develops.